What's up, everybody? This is Giles, and I am back for another episode of 40 Under 40. We are featuring some amazing artists from around the world, actually, who are under 40, and they're doing some amazing things in the arts, theater, film, dance, music, literary. And we have another person here with us on today's episode. I want you guys to help me welcome MoDean to the stage. MoDean, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Giles?
I'm good. How's it going in Atlanta?
It's going well. It's cold. It's going cool. It's hot the next day.
Okay. Yeah. That's exactly how Atlanta is all the time. So you are a full production company. Let's actually do this. Tell me about MoDean.
Okay. So MoDean is an evolvement, really, of just figuring it out. And I think that every decision that I've made as far as professionally, it's never been predetermined and preset and pre-planned. This is what I want to do. It's been extremely, this is what life has given me. Let's see what we can do with it and let's make something happen. And so I think that I'm a culmination of grit and of determination and optimism, honestly. So that's the makeup of who MoDean is. And that really is what drives anything that we do produce.
Gotcha. I have a crazy question. So you were a Spanish major in college. Like, can we stop? Can we talk about that? Spanish major, like for real.
Yes. Now I'm gonna tell you, it's not as impressive as you think when you hear the story. I went into college as a pre-med major, and math has always been like just a sore spot, you know.
Okay.
But I went and took medical statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kicked my tail. I mean, my very best was a D. And I'm like, you know what? I went to my advisor, like, look, girl, I need whatever I can get the farthest away from math that I can be. And my minor at the time was Spanish. And so she was like, well, you're pretty good in Spanish. Why don't you just go and get your Spanish degree? So I'm like, you know what? I think that's a great idea. I think I will do that. So I shifted gears. And turns out that I actually have an affinity for different languages and being able to pick it up, speak it, and replicate it. So that was my undergrad degree in Spanish. Yep.
That's dope. That's a great pivot right there.
I told you, we keep it moving, we shake.
Right. So would you want to be like a surgeon? Like what kind of doctor were you looking to be?
So at the time, I was thinking of being an orthopedic surgeon. When I was 10, I had a traumatic experience. I was mauled by a dog, and it really messed up my leg. And so all of the plastic surgery and all of the medical work and care that went into keeping and saving my leg, I was just like, man, you know, this is insane. And to be able to save someone and to improve their life through medicine and through care, I really latched on to wanting to help and wanting to save people. Turns out, you know, maybe help them and saving them a different way other than dealing with the blood.
Right. Exactly. Because it's no for me for the blood. It's a no for me. Not at all.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. So, from a Spanish major in college to now you are working in the healthcare field and you're a translator?
Okay. So the journey thickens. So once I got my Spanish degree, I used to play basketball at Tennessee Tech University. So all of my teammates, you know, it's kind of like a sorority at the end of the day. You just build the family. And so when I got out of college, my first job was an in-house interpreter for like a staffing company. You know, you come in, you want to get a job, things like that. But we had a high Hispanic population. And so one of my old teammates calls me up and she's like, hey girl, don't you have your Spanish degree? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, this school down here, they need a Spanish teacher. You should go apply. You'll probably get the job. And so I was like, I'll never be a teacher. Oh, what? I want to deal with kids. And it was more money than I was making at the time. So I called my mom, like, what should I do? And she's like, look, give it a year. If you don't like it after a year, you can always do something else. And so I went into teaching. I gave it a year. Turns out I'm a excellent teacher. So it lasted into about 3-4 years. After teaching, I did the whole, get married, get divorced, blah, blah, blah. And after my 4th year of teaching, I realized that my beliefs didn't really line up with the political environment in the American school system. So I was like, you know what? Y'all don't even pay me enough to really check my morals for this. So I'm going to just exit left. So I got out of teaching, and that's when I got into healthcare. With teaching, I went back and got my master's in education. And when I graduated with that program, I came down to Georgia to visit. And my uncle owned this urgent care in Douglasville. And so at that urgent care, he was just looking for some executive level leadership to come in and really automate his system. So we're sitting down talking, and he's like, you just graduated with your master's? I'm like, yeah, in education, training, development, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, how much would it take for you to move down here and come run my clinic? Like, please, I will pay you whatever you're asking for. So I give him a number. He agrees to the number. And I moved down there in August 2019. And I I went in as the chief operating officer, putting in systems and trainings and all of those things just to get everybody on the same page. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months. Unfortunately, the clinic got shut down by the IRS. And it was just some mishandlings with the VP and all of that stuff. So I lost my job there. But right around that time was when I started MoDean management and working with, different talent artists and things like that. And so right before I found out I lost my job as the COO, I met this poet, and he invited me to come watch him do poetry at a church. And so I'm sitting there watching him, and the crowd is just like into this guy, like they're feeding off of him. And I'm just like, I don't know how I can help you, but we need to work together. And so he comes and he sits back down after his performance, and he's like, hey, do you mind helping me sell some CDs of my poetry after church? And I'm like, it's 2019. You talking about CDs?
Right. People buy them.
People buy them, though. So I was like, yeah, I'll help you sell some CDs. And so I was like, well, where are they? Do you have your setup in the car? Like, because I'm thinking you got the display table, you got all this stuff. He pulls out a drawstring bag, and he's like, they're in here. I was like, what? So at that moment, I knew how I could add value.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is always, how can you add value to whoever it is that you encounter?
That's good.
And so we started working together, and I started, putting in systems. I'm just a systems person. So let's automate this. When you come and you buy something, this is how it goes. Here's the display table, things like that. Right. So we're going through different churches in Atlanta. We're touring. We're doing all these things. And October, he says, hey, by the way, I do stage plays. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, I want to do one here in Atlanta. I already have the place and everything. So I'm like, oh, okay, so you got some money. Okay, well, what gotta do? So I'm like, when do you want to put this on? Next year? He's like, no, I want to put it on December 28th. The Lord already gave me the date. And I'm like, okay, so you got the place, December 28th. So let's get moving. And he's like, well, here's one problem. We don't have any money. I'm like, wait a minute. So you want to put on a play in 2 months and we don't have any money. Well, what place do you want to throw this play? He says the Riverside Epicenter, right next to Six Flags.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so let's get started.
Yeah.
So we start cold calling people. We're calling our family. We're calling our friends. We're doing sponsorship packets. And we get we call ourselves the Three Musketeers. We got another person. Her name is Monique. She came on to the group too. And so we're grinding. We're trying to make stuff shake. We're selling tickets, but at no point did we ever have all the money we needed for anything. It was always like, this is due tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't have enough money.
Exactly.
And then the day come and you open up the mailbox and boom, there's a check and you're like, oh my God. So needless to say, that happened the entire 2 months. And the day before the stage production, the day before the play, was called Too Much Drama to Stay Focused. The day before the play, I called the furniture people who were going to stage the entire production. And they're like, oh, y'all still need that? I'm like, what do you mean? We had this conversation a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, nobody called to confirm. I was like, we confirmed that day that we made the deal. Did anybody call to cancel? They're like, no. So why'd you cancel?
Right.
So I'm panicking now. I'm like, Mo, I don't know what we're gonna do. We don't have any furniture for this play. And so Mo says, girl, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna get all my living room furniture and we'll just do that. So her and Emma, they're like pulling all her furniture into her garage. And at 4:00 that morning, me and David, we go to the garage. We're like loading it up in the moving truck, and then we hurry down to the epicenter. And December 28th, we put on that stage play.
Wow.
And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
When I look back at the books, we made it into the green like barely. It was like,
right.
Everybody got paid.
Right.
$27,000.
What?
That's how much money in 2 months that it took to pull that play off. $27,000. And I'm looking like, I didn't even see that much money. When did it come? Where did it go?
Right.
But it was all about, in that time, Giles, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about discipline. I learned a lot about determination. Yeah. And it's really, I learned a lot about a core nucleus of the group that you have. Because everybody all around us, even I'm talking the big pastors and the mega churches and all these things, they're like, oh no, you shouldn't do the play at that time. Oh no, this person already is going to do her play and then they're going to buy those tickets. And this is after the holidays. So they're all speaking death over it. Like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And my client, David, he was like, we're going to do it. God gave me the vision. We're going to do it. And we only had 3 people who agreed that this is going to be pulled off. Wow. 3 people. Yeah. And when we pulled it off, Giles, it proved to me that your nucleus is the most important thing in any venture that you have. Right. And so that's how I got started into the production field. I was more as a personal talent manager at first. Okay. I said we pivot, you know what I'm saying? Life throws certain things, and I realized I'm not babysitting no adult. Right. So we just go and do a little turn. And after the play, me and that client had creative differences. So, you know, we called it quits, which is cool. It happens. And the guy that I met, who I did Blackcon with, I was at a gas station and I was just getting some coffee before my day gets started. Now, okay, Giles, you know, in Atlanta, people are extremely friendly, but they're forward too. So this guy's like 79 and he comes up to me and he's got his suit on and he's all clean and stuff. And he was like, you are so pretty. I'm just like, you know, thank you. And he says, what is your name? And I said, well, I'm MoDean. And he says, MoDean, you carry yourself like you're a boss. What do you do? And so I said, at the time, I was like, well, I'm a talent manager. And he says, well, that's good news because I'm talent. Let me buy you coffee. Let's sit down and let's talk. So I was like, okay, let's, you know. So we get a coffee and we sit down and he begins to tell me these stories. Now I say he was 79. So he was born and active back in the Jim Crow era, you know, like it was kind of coming out of the segregation, but it's still real heavy. So he's telling me all these stories about how he used to manipulate and con these white people out of their money, basically by playing the role like the Uncle Tom or whatever we coined it as, you know, like, yes, sir, absolutely, da-da-da-da-da. But the whole time he's playing to that racist expectation that he's beneath them. So they're thinking that they're taking advantage of him. And the whole time it's really the rabbit who has the gun, you know? Right. So as he's telling me this, I'm like, even if this isn't true, this is entertaining. Right. If it's nothing else, this is a great story. Right. And so, again, we're talking, but I call it the feels, I call it inspiration, I call it God, people call it different things. But I get a still voice of assurance, like, okay, this is what you need to do. Wow. You need to sign this man. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sign him. I don't know what I'm signing him to. I don't know what we gonna have going on, but let me just get it. So we signed a contract and I sit with these stories for like a month. And I hit up my boy Sid and I'm like, yo, Sid, he's a producer here in Atlanta. And I'm like, yo, Sid, I have this client who has an amazing story. I just want to get the stories on film.
Yeah.
If we can get the stories on camera, we figure the rest of the stuff out. He's like, okay, Mo, look, bring him down to the studio, let's shoot it, and we'll figure out what to do. So I'm like, bet. Ain't got no money. So, like,
right.
The executive producer, we work it out. So he's like, I got you. We get him down. When we step into the studio, it's such an electrifying energy in there. And when you get that type of environment, it's synergistic is what I like to call it. All of the right things are in all of the right places, all at the right time. And so I'm trembling like, okay, I got to calm down. I don't know what this is, but this is going to be great.
Right.
He stands in front of the camera and I'm like, okay, look, so this is what we want to do. I want you to stand this way, do this, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm coaching him to a T because I see the vision in my head and said he's older than me and he's more experienced in the field. So he says, Mo, relax, let him do him. We control what happens on the editing side, but let him be him.
Right.
That advice changed my life. Because allowing or letting go of control was the only way I was going to get the maximum experience or benefit of the situation.
Right. Yeah.
And so we let him go and he's just going. I mean, he's an orator. Like he'll get up and he's just telling his stories and all of these stuff. So Giles, after we get all these stories, I sit on them for about 6 months. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I just got this old man up in here talking. Don't nobody want to see him just standing here running his mouth. What are we gonna do? And so I wake up one day and that voice comes back and it's like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. If he says he was a banker, if he said he was a car person, if he said he was all these things, find the professionals in those fields. Validate if it happens. Validate his perspective.
Right.
And then also, because fraud is so high in our culture now, and especially the scamming and all that stuff, we also need these professionals to put up like, hey, by the way, this doesn't happen anymore because we have these different security things in place.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay. And it was just a list. It was like, I already know all the people you need. You need 2 pastors. You need 2 this. You need 1 of these. You need this, that, and the other. So it just so happened to be right in the heart of COVID. And I had to jump through so much red tape to find these people that I needed. But everything happens as it's supposed to when it's supposed to.
Right.
So pretty much everyone who was in the documentary was somebody that I had met during the time I was working with the poet or back when I was in high school or something like that. You see how it all turns out?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's a cycle. And so I got all of the professional opinions, all those things. We get them on camera, boom. We had another standstill because we have his story, we have their perspective, and they're intertwined beautifully. Right. But where's the start? Where's the finish? And so it sits for another month or 2. And again, I wake up. I just love that. I woke up and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, you know what happened. You know how it happened, but you don't know what happened after. So we need to close this out.
Okay.
So I bring him back into the studio and it takes all of 2 hours. I ask him certain, questions to kind of get what I needed.
Yeah.
And after that session, Blackcon in totality for real was done.
And so this is the tale of a black con man?
This is the Confessions of a Black Con Man. Yeah, the Confessions of a Black Con Man, The Road to Redemption.
And it's a movie, a documentary? What is it?
It's a documentary. It's a full feature documentary. It's about 36 minutes long or so. So it's kind of in between a short and a film.
Right.
But it's really just a narrative, an autobiographical narrative of this old school dude running all these games. But to be honest with you, Giles, as much as we love a good, oh yeah, he got you, as much as we love those stories, what I love most about Blackcon, there are 3 principles that it does teach. One is self-confidence and belief. Okay. If he didn't believe that he was their equal or higher, he would have never been able to convince them of anything because you carry yourself the way you believe. And if we step into the world believing we're second class citizens in a society that tries to make us feel that way, then we never really open up to our full potential because we only operate within the confines of a second class citizen.
Right, right.
Quasi did not believe that about himself. He is a first class for sure, if not higher than you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the first thing. And the second thing that I think Blackcon teaches is how to identify manipulation, really, because you have two types of people. You have the one person who thinks they're getting over on you, so they handle you a certain way. But then you have the person who's receiving that, and they have the option to, okay, I can either be manipulated or I can turn back around and benefit off of you trying to manipulate.
Right. Yeah.
And then the last one, of course, is to keep people aware of these things still happen. People still, people still do bank fraud. People still do rental car fraud. People still do all of these things.
Yeah.
But there is nothing at the end of that lifestyle that's actually worth having.
Okay.
And that's how Blackcon ends, where he's like, I did all of this stuff. I had the money. I had millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, I was sacrificing this for this.
Right. Right. Wow. That's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. It almost sounds like a movie. Like you should really think about moving this into like a full movie of like, this is how his life went. And this is like, this really sounds very theatrical.
Thank you. I mean, I really would love for it to get to that, I really would love for that.
So where can we find Confessions of a Black Man, Confessions of a Blackcon now?
You good. Okay, so right now we are searching for distribution. So it's not on any streaming platform yet, but we're working towards getting it on, honestly, whoever will take it.
Right.
But if not, Amazon Prime will probably be.
Yeah.
When it is up, we'll definitely it will be on a streaming service.
Okay. Is there a trailer out now?
There is a trailer out now, and you can find the trailer on YouTube, or you can find it on our IG, which is at Motivation Productions, and it's like MOD. Y'all can probably tell from my name. So Motivation, MODIVATION. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna put it down in the lower thirds for people. So
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do that. I love the journey. I love the story. I love to watch things come full circle. I love what I call God moments.
Yes.
When God steps in, you be like, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Exactly.
Oh, I had to learn this so I can get to this in the future. Yeah, I love those God moments for sure. And it seems like you have a lot of those, and it's really cool that you're in tune with those too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So what is his name? Quasi?
Quasi.
So normally if a random man stops you at a gas station, most people will be like, I'm good. I'm going where I'm going.
Yeah.
What made you stop and have that conversation with him?
Good question. I think that I'm a very empathic person. So I feel energies and vibes. I can see you from a mile away before you get to me. And if your energy is radiating BS, I'm automatically like, I got to go.
Right.
But there's a certain type of frequency that happens between two people who are supposed to meet. You know what I'm saying? Because on any average day, I'll be like, look, man, go about your business. You're right. Go about your business. Thank you.
Yeah.
But when he approached me, there's two things that I love about somebody. A, confidence. Like, just if you the ish, you the ish.
Right.
Right. And then directness. And he was just straight up like, look, you carry yourself like a boss. What do you do? I do this. I do this. Well, let's find out more, And he didn't beat around the bush. It wasn't all of this passive conversation. So I think the intentional or the intentionality behind his movements really gave me a solid feeling of, okay, he cool.
Gotcha.
Let's see what he talking about.
Gotcha. So talk to the young filmmaker out there who says, I'm too old, I'm 30 now, and people have been in this game since they were 20, they went to school for this, and I don't know if I should do it, but I want to do it. Like, what would you say to that person?
I would say, you don't have to go to school for it. It's nice, but
Yeah.
a lot of people who made a lot of money and go to school for this stuff.
Right.
I think that what I would say is believe that whatever you can produce is going to be great, because we stop at what if it's not good?
Right.
I mean, I want to do that, but what if people don't like it?
Right.
And so that is the stop sign for most people. And then they use, I'm 30, I'm too old, I didn't go to school. But the core of that is it good enough?
Mm.
There's 10 billion people in this world. It's going to be good enough for somebody, you know, at least make it good enough for you and then move from there.
Mm-hmm.
But have confidence that if you wake up and you have this vision like, dang, I just really want to do this. Dang, I just really want to do this. That's a God moment. That's God talking to you like, try it. Yeah. We get so paralyzed with the idea of failing that it will stop us from ever trying, because at least we didn't fail at it.
Right.
We never tried.
Right.
But I think that once we redirect our understanding of what failure is for, it's not for shaming. It's not for being less than. It's not for any of that. All failing is for is figuring out what not to do so you can do it the right way to be successful.
That's good. That's good.
And so I would definitely say be confident that whatever it is that you think that you want to produce is something that's going to be great. And then pursue it as if it's going to be great. If you pursue it like it's going to be BS, then your efforts, your resources, it'll all be BS.
Right. That's good. Thank you for that. I think somebody definitely needed to hear that. What's next?
I don't know, Giles. Whatever the universe throws in my lap.
Okay. So there are no projects that are brewing on the back end. There's no like, oh, I have this cool idea.
I do have this idea. So I have another business. My main business, or the parent company, is MoDean Management, which I talked about. And it's really a business consultant firm. So we just help you get your stuff started. Like if you say, I'm a filmmaker, but I want this film I'm working on to be its own LLC, which is popular in the industry. And it's like, you come to me, we'll do your paperwork, things like that. But what I really love to do is teach and train and show in parables and stories. And so I figured the next series that I have brewing right now is a daddy-daughter series. I'm a daddy's girl, okay? That's my guy. I love my dad. But what I love the most is the amount of wisdom that he pours into me and has poured into me since I was a kid. And so in these different parables, it's like an audio drama, which I want to adapt into a shorts, you know, like these things I want to put on YouTube.
Right.
But I haven't come up with a title yet, but I'm thinking daddy, daughter, date or some crap. I don't know. But there are different situations where the main character, who's a girl, she's always calling her dad with a problem. Like whether it's, I don't feel like I'm good enough, I'm not where I need to be, or my man tripping, why he don't want this, you know, she's asking her daddy for advice. And in the exchange, the dad tells some type of parable or some type of story that teaches the lesson that he's trying to get over to the daughter. Nice. So we did one, which is called Stay in Your Lane. That was the first one. They're about 5-minute episodes. But the girl is having the very natural struggle. Like in today's society, we struggle with comparing ourselves to the next person, because you have Instagram, you got 4-year-olds who are freaking millionaires off doing dumb stuff on YouTube, you know, like, and you're at 28, like, dang, I'm still living with a friend and on somebody's couch, like, I'm a failure, you know. And so the dad in this short, the daddy's like, what's wrong, girl? And she was just like, I'm just not doing enough. I don't know. It's just, I see all these people who got families, they have houses, cars, and all of this crap. And I can barely deal with this cup of coffee. Like, you want to pay for my coffee? Right. And so the dad tells her, he's like, listen, girl, you got to learn to stay in your lane. You don't know what those other people had to do to get where they were going. That's good. And so the parable that he paints is, imagine you have a track with 4 lanes. each of these lanes has a divider up that restricts the runner from seeing the other person's lane. Okay.
Yeah.
In lane 1, the person has hurdles every 15 meters that they have to jump over. In lane 2, they have 3 feet deep puddles every 25 meters that they got to get through.
Right.
Lane 3, they got to climb over a big old boulder, and lane 4 doesn't have any obstacles in their way.
Right.
So before you start the race, all 4 competitors can see each other at the start line.
Yeah.
When they start the race, they don't know what the other person has, but they can only assume that it's probably the same that they have.
Right. Right.
So naturally, the person in lane 4 will finish first because they don't have any obstacles, even though it's the farthest route to go.
Right.
So when lanes 1, 2, and 3 finish, they're like, dang, 4, how did you finish so quickly? Because I know what I had to go through to finish this race, and you finished before me, so dang.
Yeah.
So the dad says, it doesn't matter what number 4 says that they did to win, because they didn't have hurdles every 15 minutes. They didn't have puddles. They didn't have boulders.
Right.
So whatever it is that they say, it does not matter for how they finished the race. What matters is that you finished the race with the hurdles you had.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's good. That's dope. When am I gonna say this? When am I gonna say this?
That one is on our Instagram. That one is on Instagram.
Okay.
You can find it.
Go to Instagram. I'm gonna put it right there in the lower third. I'm gonna go to Instagram and check this because I can't. I'm gonna go watch it like right now as soon as we get off.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
That one is on there.
That's dope. That's dope. So how can people follow you directly?
Okay, you can follow me at MoDean_management. That's my IG.
Okay.
And then you can also find me at my website if you're trying to start your business. It's at www.modeanmanagement.com. So it's pretty consistent.
So MoDean is the manager. She is the manager for the people. Get your business started. Yeah. So you ready to play this game? You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So if you've been watching 40 Under 40, we play a game called This or That. So I give 2 scenarios, 2 words, 2 situations, and you choose this or that, and we just talk about why. Cool?
Okay.
All right. So the first one, I'm gonna be a little rude for this one. You ready?
Okay.
Tennessee or Georgia?
You talking about as far as states or as far as teams?
I'm just talking about period. Like the whole shebang. Like if you had to say, if I'm gonna pick one over the other, Tennessee or Georgia?
Georgia.
Why?
Okay, I picked Georgia because I get to see us in every part of life. I see us as millionaires rolling in Bentleys. I see us as homeless people on the street. I see us as hustlers. I see us as doctors. I see us as lawyers. And when I say us, I mean people of color, of course, but I get to see that those privileges aren't just for this set of people, or these repercussions aren't just for, our set of people. So I think that Atlanta is the mecca of Black variety and versatility. Like you're what?
I love it. Beach or mountains?
I'm gonna say beach because I love the water.
Okay.
I don't like being cold, so I'm going to mountain.
Definitely. Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out?
I'm gonna go with Chick-fil-A. Okay. I don't like In-N-Out fries.
Okay.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Starbucks or Dunkin'?
Yo, I have to tell you, I have the struggle every day. Today was Starbucks, yesterday was Dunkin', but go in between. But I like Dunkin' better for the affordability.
That part. Yeah, that for sure. I heard you talking about coffee, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna ask this question.
Love me some coffee.
Gotcha. So if you had a superpower, would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
Be invisible.
Why?
Because recognizance. Like if I can just
I love it. I love it.
let me walk in here, what y'all talking about.
Bingo. That's what I want. That's definitely what I want.
If I know the problem, I can fix the problem. Flying ain't gonna fix nothing but getting there faster. What if there's inclement weather? Then what? Like,
I think you got to think about Atlanta traffic. You be like, maybe I should.
maybe I do need to fly.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Last one. $1 million home or $1 million in cash.
I would do $1 million in cash because a $1 million home got a big $1 million home note that come too. So I'm gonna take the cash to go get me a little smaller house.
Gotcha. That was this or that. Super easy. But I love doing that because you really get to break that wall and see how people think. Yeah.
For real.
For real. So, hey, family, make sure you go check out MoDean Management. Make sure you go check out Confessions of a Black Con Man. And if you need to start your business, your LLC, you need to get your 501c3. You need to get it. You get your film paperwork taken care of. Yo, go talk to my girl MoDean.
Come talk to me.
Make sure she will get you right. She will get you tight and right for sure. Yo, we look for great things coming from you, MoDean. Thank you for talking to us today. And congrats on being 40 under 40.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow, like, and share this. We will be back soon. Peace.